Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you're coming from or from around the world. Welcome to the first edition of the Canada You Can Go series in 2023. Everybody, my name is Dennis Brazolot, and I am the owner of the Brazolot Migration Group. We are based here in between Ottawa and Montreal in Canada. This is where our head office is. We also have an office in Ontario, Nova Scotia, and Manchester, United Kingdom. A little bit about myself shortly, but what's most important for each and every one of you is I'm a licensed Canadian immigration consultant, which means the government of Canada has entrusted me to help you work with your applications. I'm also a licensed recruiter, and I help people immigrate to Canada. I've been doing this for 27 years. I am a Canadian. I am born and raised near Toronto, and I come from a family of 9 children. My family is the oldest home building company in Canada, and I was born and raised in new construction. From this, I went on, and my education was in Hamilton, Ontario, where I got a diploma in marketing and diploma in business as well. And I was in real estate for a number of years, and I was a real estate broker. From this point, I moved to Great Britain, and I specialized in immigration from 1995. And I bought the immigration firm that I was working at, one of their franchises, merged with a partner of mine, and we became the largest immigration firm in the world. I was able to do this because my origins are Italian. My grandparents immigrated from Italy many, many years ago, and the way they had immigrated makes me an Italian citizen. So I have both a Canadian passport and an Italian passport. My grandfather's papers, which are 100 years old in a couple of months, when he came to Canada on the SS Julio Cesare, some highlighted parts. The object of coming to Canada was to establish oneself. Money in his pocket upon arrival was $25. And there was even medical questions 100 years ago. Was there any tuberculosis? No. Were there any physical defects? No. So that was my grandfather on my father's side. My grandmother on my mother's side immigrated from the United States. And her papers 5 years before my grandfather was a little bit easier. This was the registration card with the police station, and that's all she needed to do. If immigration was that simple, we wouldn't be here today. But I married Debbie, and Debbie was born British. Her family immigrated to New Zealand when she was 2 years old, and Debbie has both a New Zealand passport and a British passport. We have 2 boys, Massimiliano and Alessandro, and they have all 4 passports. They are Italian Canadian because I am, and they are British New Zealand because their mother is. And they have all 4 passports. They're lucky little devils that can pretty much live and work anywhere they want for the rest of their lives. Well, that's a very old picture of them, which I quite like, but they've asked me to update it. Max is now 23 years old, and Alexander is now 16 years old. This is us tearing down their old tree fort 2 Octobers ago. So that's a little bit about me and our background here. So who have we helped? We've helped people from all over the world come to Canada. Where you're coming from does not determine how we can work for you. It's a matter of how you qualify. And the reasons why you want to qualify are going to be up to you. And so I'm going to ask you right now, in the chat room, I want everybody to type why you're looking to immigrate. What are some of the reasons why you're looking to immigrate? Type them in now as we're going through, and we're going to scroll through. We see people from Jamaica, from Philippines, Trinidad, how to join. This is Saudi Arabia, Trinidad Tobago, from the UK, Pakistan. Good to have everybody here. That's why I said good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you go. Germany is here. I know we've had registrations from all over the world. So let's see some of the reasons why. Better life, new job opportunities, changing environment. The UK is in a terrible state. Better job prospects, better financial life, better quality of life. The reasons why you're looking to immigrate are personal, but the reasons why you want to immigrate don't differ from my grandfather 100 years ago to today. The reasons why you're looking at it is right there, okay? Different experience, new possibilities. You're looking at education, environments, the economics. Your reason is personal, it's down to you, but we're going to help you today with how the ways that you're going to be able to come and those. I lost my train of thought there because someone just put in a chat room there that was different. Trinidad's getting terrible. Well, I was sorry to hear that, but let's come to Canada, plain and simple. Canada does offer 5 different categories: economic temporary classes, which are study permits, work permits, and visitor visas; business applications, family class applications, provincial nominations. We do use a lot of jargon. How many is this your first webinar with us? If this is your first time, put first, or put the number that you've been here, second, third, fourth, third. Excellent. So the jargon is there, and we do use it a lot, Helen, myself, and Donna. So by all means, you can request a copy of today's slides by sending an email to info@brazolotgroup.com, and we will send you out a copy of the slides after Thursday, and you'll be able to pick up on all of this. Do not put it in the chat room. You've got to send an email to info@brazolotgroup.com, and Mandy will put that in the chat room for us now. So who are we if this is your first time? Plain and simple. We have me, but I have three managers. I'm Helen Brereton, who is a licensed consultant like myself, Donna Vellucci, who's our career and relocation manager, and Mandy Morgan. Mandy is our moderator today, so that's the one who's going to be sending out some different cryptic chats. And the team here, Helen's been here, 20 some odd years. She'll correct me if I'm wrong. Donna the same, Mandy being the same. Our team is made up of a number of people, and you're going to see that the flags behind their name is the nationalities that they have. So Helen, Donna, and Mandy are all British Canadians. And we have Joanne, British Canadian, Catherine, Doreen, Ugandan, Swiss. We have Jennifer, who is British Canadian, Remandeep, who is Indian Canadian, Max, my son, who works here. He's got all 4 passports, and Daniela rounding out everything with 3 different nationalities. So it's a privilege that we have. So we do know where you're coming from because all of us have made the moves ourselves. We have 3 different divisions in the company. Our relocation department is going to help you with your soft landings. It's one thing to get the visa. It's the next thing to know about buying or renting a property in Canada, getting registered for the schools, you're moving and shipping, getting your healthcare sorted. This is what we're all about, and this is what we help you with once you have your visas. Some of you will need a job in order to get the visa to come here. Some of you are able to get the visa first and then get the job afterwards. So our relocation division and our employment division are going to help you with that. By far our biggest division and our biggest team is the visa specialist. Without the actual visa, nothing else is going to happen. Don't plan on coming to Canada and moving to the street if you don't have the legal authorization to be here. So this is what we're going to work on today, and this is what the focus of today's webinars are all about. We are your partner in migration, okay? It's critical you get this right the first time. There's a lot of changes that have happened. There's a lot of changes that are going to happen this year. How many out there have used Waze, the direction on your phone when you're trying to find a new place to drive to? How many use Waze? Yes, one person, a couple of people. Yes, I do. Oh, let's put it this way. How many don't know what Waze is? If you don't know what W-A-Z-E is, get it. It's brilliant. So Waze is quite simple. You put in your destination, and it's going to tell you the most economical, easiest route to take. But if something happens, if there's a car crash or a traffic jam or something, Waze will change real quick to tell you how to avoid this and maybe go a different route. This is what we're going to be all about. You may have gone to the Canadian immigration website. You may have seen your path. You know your destination is Canada. I'm Waze, because I'm going to show you and help you when things are going to change that fast this year, how you can maneuver and get around the different categories to be able to get to your final destination. Preparation is key and critical. This is important with your file. This is why everybody who's attended today, you need to go through the evaluation worksheet. If you've done it with us before, if it's over 6 months old, you will need to do it again. But here's what we have coming up. With the evaluation worksheet, it's 4 pages. Helen and I will talk about this a little bit later in detail. And what's important is I'll put the link up there for now so everybody can get started on this link. So press the button at the top that says press here. We're going to give you a full report on how you qualify in coming to Canada. Okay, this is important. There's going to be a discount available till Sunday. And the discount, everybody, year 2023, we're doing this for $23. We've never been this low. We will never be this low again. The full price is $112. You need the code, okay? You can't just click on the website and get it for $23. Only by being here today, you need to put the discount code of Canada23, and you'll get this whole evaluation and the worksheet and everything for $23, okay? We're going to provide updates with what this is all about a little bit later, but this is critical to you. If you want to do something about it, you can't get any better time than now. The way you do it, and the only way you can do it, is through the website. You need a Visa, MasterCard, or Amex. You're going to go through PayPal. You don't need a PayPal account to do it. The discount code is Canada23. We'll repeat this again at the end for those that have missed this. So let's go into what we're all about today. Today is the overview of all programs. I'm going to briefly discuss the immigration categories that Canada does offer. We will go into detail on family categories, provincial nominations, and study permits. That's today. Tomorrow we take a break, and on Thursday we're going to do how to get a job, how to get your work permit, express entry, what that's all about, because express entry is not a visa, but it entails everything we're going to talk about. We're going to go into work permits, business permits, skill worker, federal skill trade, and Canadian experience class. So if you need something more than today's 20-minute topics, we do have full web expos, and I'm going to close the link at the top. With the full Canadian web expos, next one will be Saturday, February 25th. These are about 5 hours long, but we bring in our colleagues that have helping with your moving and shipping, your finances, moving your money to Canada, getting a mortgage in Canada, real estate agents. So it's and lots of videos of all the different areas in Canada. It's a full day event. We send out the agenda so you know when things are going to be happening. Our next live shows, we will be participating at the Canada Live shows. So all of our Brits who are here today will be in Birmingham on Saturday, March 4th, Dublin on Wednesday, March 8th, and Glasgow on March 11th. So go to canadalive.co.uk and you can buy your tickets there. It's not us. We're just going to be some of the exhibitors there. And finally, if you don't have time for a full expo, we have the mini web expo, and that one will be on Sunday, March 26th. So you can go back to our website and register for those. Again, it's about the videos and the different colleagues that join us. For our clients and some of our clients that are here, on the last Monday of every month, we host our private client webinar. And this is where we give our clients the up-to-date information, what's happening during that month, and what's going to be important for their files that's not been released by immigration just yet. So Canada, you can go. Let's figure out how we can actually do this. Kindly share the discount code. We did. It's Canada23, no capitals. So now we get into the boring section. We talk about the legal and the visa issues that are going to be important to each and every one of you. You still have to go through applications. Okay, a lot of it is no longer paper-based. A lot of it is online, but you still have to make sure that you're doing it properly. As I mentioned before, Canada has these 5 categories: economic, temporary classes, business, family, and provincial nominations. So economic categories for Canada break down into 4. We have the Federal Skilled Worker Program. We have Federal Skilled Trades Program, Canadian Experience Class Program, and provincial and territorial nominations. On Thursday, we talk about the Skilled Worker Program in detail. These are people who can qualify without needing a job offer first. Some still need a job offer, but you'll be able to go through by getting enough points in order to come forward. Skilled trades category, again, we talk about this on Thursday, will be about plumbers, bricklayers, electricians, and how you qualify through this type of category. Canadian experience class, it's going to be on Thursday, but we tie it in today because it's part of the study program as well. Temporary classes, study permits, we are talking about today. We're going to go into detail. Temporary class about work permits and jobs, we talk about on Thursday. Again, we're going to say this over and over again. Preparation is key and critical. There's 2 parts when it comes to your employment file for a work permit. Is your immigration file ready? Is your employment file ready? Thursday, again, we're going to talk about business programs, starting or buying or joining a business. And then we break this down to investors, owner-operators, franchisees, partnerships, or even a new startup. There's different ways of coming. In order to be a business person in Canada, the money is not millions and millions of dollars. You could be starting a new business in Canada for £152,000, 1.2 million TT dollars. This is all doable, and it's a fast way into Canada. Part of the programs are family class and provincial nominations. That's what we're going to be talking about today. 2 separate categories. We'll go into the family class and PMP. It's a big country, people. It's the 2nd largest country in the world. Everywhere you can see on that map, I have been, with the exception of the territory of Nunavut. Haven't been there just yet. Someone says the discount's not working. We'll check that out with our IT team, but I don't see why it's not. And I'll make sure it is working because this is only good until Sunday. So where you want to go, up to you. Let's start getting into some of the programs. And I'm happy to bring my colleague on, and I will check that out to make sure the discount is working. And my colleague, Helen Brereton, coming in live from Manchester, United Kingdom, our office there. Come in, Helen.
Hello, Dennis.
Wow, there we go. A little bit of light when you turn this way. People can see you.
I'm in the dark. It's winter. It's dark. It's miserable.
It's Manchester.
No, that wasn't what I meant at all.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, it's our first one of the year, so everyone's going to have to bear with me because I think maybe over the Christmas and New Year, it all just went. So bear with me as I go through the next bit.
Well, your Christmas may have been dark and gloomy, but mine was very dark because we had 4 days of no power.
Yes, you did. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that's a little bit of a warning for people.
Sorry, Helen. Sorry, Helen. That's not the discount code. Okay, this is that's not the discount code. I will type it in here. No, it's there. Okay, thank you, Mikkel. Hopefully that's working. It's Canada 123. Don't put in the apostrophes. It's Canada 23. That's the discount code. Thank goodness it's working. Okay, Helen, I'm going to leave it to you. I'll come back and join you shortly.
All righty, thank you, Dennis. So, hi everybody, welcome to the first event of 2023. So my name's Helen and I'm the Visa Processing Manager here at Brazolot Migration. And as Dennis said, I've been working for a long time. So I've been practicing immigration law for over 20 years now, which seems hard to believe. So I've helped people go through this whole process from start to finish. And I've also been through the process myself because I am a Canadian citizen as well. So I moved out to Canada on a temporary work permit, got my permanent residency, and then got my Canadian citizenship. So I've been through all the steps that potentially you are going to go through in relocating to Canada. As Dennis said, we are regulated. So our regulatory body is CICC, College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. So if you are getting advice about immigration to Canada or you want somebody to represent you, please do make sure that they are licensed with CICC or they are a Canadian lawyer, just to protect yourself. So I'm currently in the UK, but I did live in Canada for quite a number of years, out in Quebec, in the French-speaking province. But now I'm going to take you through the family categories. Now, when listening to information about the family category, if you've not got any family in Canada at the moment, just bear in mind that in a few years to come, you could be that family member in Canada that wants to sponsor some of your family members overseas. Okay, so even though it's not relevant right now, it could be in the future. So under the family category, who can sponsor? Well, in order to be a sponsor, you've got to be at least 18 years old and you've got to be a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, or you've got to be registered in Canada as an Indian under the Canadian Indian Act. Those are the only people that can submit sponsorship applications. Who can you sponsor? Well, it's very limited. It's not a huge list of who can be sponsored to Canada. The largest category is you can sponsor your spouse, your partner, so that's your common law partner who you've lived with for at least 12 months. Your conjugal partner, so that might be somebody that you're in a relationship with, but you're unable to get married or you're unable to live together because of legal issues. And you can sponsor your dependent children. You can only sponsor your children up to the age of 22. So once they turn 22 years of age, they've got to qualify for immigration in their own right. The next category is parents and grandparents. So as you can imagine, this is a hugely popular category for parents and grandparents. And then the third category is sponsor your relatives. So that's a little bit vague, but we will get into it. So under the first category, sponsoring your spouse, your partner, or your dependent children. These applications, Canada does try to prioritize these applications to make sure that families are reunited. So if you are a Canadian citizen and you're sponsoring your spouse or your dependent child, you can do that sponsorship application from anywhere in the world. However, if you are a permanent resident of Canada, you must be in Canada to submit that application. You can't do it from outside of Canada. Under the parents and grandparents application, so for this one, you must be in Canada to do this sponsorship application because as part of the application, you've got to show that your Canadian income for the previous 3 years, and the sponsor must have hit a certain level of income for those 3 years to show that they've got the funds there to support their parents or grandparents. This category is oversubscribed every year. So at the moment, the way Canada processes these applications is it's used on a sort of lottery basis. So the sponsor submits their interest in sponsoring their parents and grandparents, and then Canada will randomly invite applicants to apply to this program. Hugely popular, so quite difficult to get through. Canada is looking at different ways of making improvements to the program. So maybe those will come this year, maybe not. So the 2023 program is not open yet for the parents and grandparents, but it should be opening over the next few months. And the final category, sponsor your relatives. So who is a relative? Well, the first category is that you can sponsor an orphaned brother, sister, niece, nephew, or grandchild if they are under 18. Okay, and the important word in that one is they are orphaned. The second category is, we call it the lonely Canadian, which sounds a little bit sad. But what it means is that the sponsor can sponsor a family member as long as they don't have another family member that they could sponsor instead. Okay, so they've only got this one family member who is eligible to be sponsored. In addition, the sponsor cannot have any family members who are already Canadian citizens or permanent residents, hence why we call it the lonely Canadian. But that category is there and available for applicants to apply under the sponsorship program. So that's a very brief overview of the family sponsorship category. I believe Dennis is going to return now to take us through the provincial nomination program.
I guess I will.
No. I have it written down.
No, I know. I am. So I forgot to tell you, I woke up this morning and it was -19.
Ouch. Well, I went for a run this morning. It was -4. So
okay, go away. Anyways, we're now -3. We've warmed up 16 degrees. We're going to be 0 tomorrow. It's going to be heaven. And for those that are watching today, if you heard about the storms in North America over the Christmas holidays, yes, my house from December 24th until December 27th, no power.
Merry Christmas to you.
And my brother went for a visit, and he gave the whole family COVID except me. Yay, it was a great Christmas. Yep. Anyways, enough about that. Everybody, you're going to see that you can start typing in your questions because there is a question and answer session we're going to be coming back to later. And I am going to take you, as Helen said, through provincial nominations.
Okay, I'll be back soon.
Yeah, after this, yes. If you've just joined us, my name is Dennis Brazolot. I'm the owner of the company. I'm a licensed immigration consultant like Helen is. I've been practicing immigration law now for 27 years, and I'm an Italian Canadian with 2 passports. That's what the flags are all about. I'm also a licensed recruiter in the provinces in Canada where we need to be. Licensing is very important because it's your protection. Okay, if you're going to use a representative, they have to be a Canadian lawyer or a licensed Canadian immigration consultant, plain and simple. Anybody else is just a cowboy, plain and simple. And there's too many around the world. And that's why we have been regulated by our government. So provincial and territorial nominations. Let's go into these. 10 provinces, 3 territories, and all of our provinces and all of our territories except one offer a scheme, which is a different avenue of how you can come into Canada. We get a lot of emails from a lot of people saying, I just want to do a provincial nomination program. Well, there's a lot to know about these programs, and we obviously don't have the time today to go into the finite side of things. But we look at British Columbia. They got a skilled worker program, a healthcare professional, express entry, an entrepreneurial scheme. Alberta's got a farmer scheme, an international graduate scheme. Saskatchewan has entrepreneur, farm category, skilled worker, and express entry as well. Ontario has 5 different categories, which is a French-speaking stream, just if you're a French speaker. Human capital priorities is designated occupations, entrepreneur scheme. They have an employer job offer, student in demand. There's all kinds of different ways there. Quebec is not a nomination program. Quebec's actually its own immigration program, but for the purposes of this webinar, we'll keep it the same. They look for permanent workers, business people, students, and family categories. Manitoba works on skilled workers overseas, education stream, and a business investor stream as well. Out in Atlantic Canada, Newfoundland and Labrador offer an express entry skilled worker, international graduate, international entrepreneur, a combination of being a graduate and becoming an entrepreneur and a skilled worker. New Brunswick has skilled worker support, express entry, entrepreneurial streams. I'm getting to a point here. Prince Edward Island has their express entry, international graduate, critical workers, high impact workers, entrepreneur. Nova Scotia has a physician stream. Nova Scotia is a very cutting edge province. They have a lot of different innovative programs that come forward. Skilled worker, Nova Scotian demand, labor priorities, and rounding out with our territories, they're very similar. Express entry streams, critical impact workers, business nominees, and employer pilot, community pilot program. The similarity between all of these is a lot of them are looking for students. A lot of them are looking for business people. A lot of them offer an express entry, which ties back to the federal program. So remember, a province cannot issue a visa. A province can offer support to get the permanent visa. Now, Atlantic Canada does have a special program called the Atlantic Immigration Program, where employers have a different way of being able to hire foreign workers and international graduates, which makes it a little bit easier for the employers, and it's a faster scheme for them to go through immigration. So it's something we will assess you against as well. We also have a rural and northern immigration pilot. These are municipal programs. Pretty much you need a job offer or you're in that community already, but it's another way of getting people there. And we're seeing this one will probably be expanded to more municipalities across the country because this is locally originated. Okay. A community knows what it needs in terms of labor force and economic force faster than the federal government will, or even faster than the provincial government will. So we see this one being expanded more and more, very similar to the Atlantic program. So where you want to go is going to be up to you. But as I said, the similarities are the provinces have different criteria for your age, for your education, for your language capabilities. So different than the federal program, where the federal program can be a little bit rigid. There is more flexibility in the provincial programs. There is an occupation definition of what you're going to have to understand. Okay, we're going to go into detail of this with skilled worker, but your occupation will have a coding. And if your code is skilled, which is only 2/3 of the list, then you're good. But if your coding is 1/3 of the list, which is the bulk of occupations, then a lot of provincial programs will help you come into Canada that way. So if you are a food counter attendant, you work at a donut store, you can't go through the federal program unless you're a supervisor, but some of the provincial programs have an occupation list that they will take you up. Can I go back to the previous page? Sure. Previous page was rural and northern immigration pilot. There you go, Denise. But remember, you're also eligible to ask for a copy of these slides. Send an email to info@brazolotgroup.com. Say you'd like a copy of the slides, and we're happy to send these out to you on Thursday. Okay, sorry, not Thursday, Friday. So provincial programs are kind of like a backdoor of how you can get into different programs. But the majority, you will need a job offer. Okay, it's not a straight to immigration program. The express entry programs are for those with job offers there or designated occupations, which is important on Thursday's webinar. The webisode that we provide there, we're going to go into a lot more detail of that. So without further ado, because she's better looking than I am, I'm happy to bring Helen to come on back. And Helen is going to walk you through studying in Canada. And I'll see you guys shortly. Helen, I didn't change the slides, by the way, on study. I know you don't like them, but you're going to have to live with it.
Okay, thanks for the warning. Oh, it's gone now, and I was just about to say we've got a snow warning in Manchester as well, so probably not as much as Canada, but at least it's something. So let's have a look at studying in Canada. Now, this is an option that lots of people don't initially consider, but it has proven really popular over the last few years, and it is a way for slightly mature clients to come into Canada. But there's some really important aspects to bear in mind when looking at coming to study in Canada. So you will need to have a study permit approval in order to come into Canada to study. So what's going to be the requirements? Well, first requirement is you've got to be accepted onto a course of study. So you've got to have a letter of acceptance from a DLI. A DLI is a designated learning institute. So that's a college or university in Canada authorized to accept foreign students. You've got to have the funds available to do it. So you've got to show that you've got the funds available to pay your first year of tuition fees, but also additional funds to support yourself and any accompanying family members to Canada. Your spouse or partner, if they're coming with you to Canada, they will be able to get an open work permit. So they won't need a job offer first in order to apply for their work permit. They can get a work permit based on being the partner of a study permit holder. Really important thing to bear in mind is the length of study. Okay, so obviously you can do a course of any length of study, but if you do a 1-year course of study in Canada, once you've graduated and finished that course, you will only be eligible to apply for a 1-year postgraduate work permit, the PGWP there. However, if you did a 2-year course of study, you would be eligible for a 3-year postgraduate work permit. Okay, so huge difference there from getting a 1-year work permit or a 3-year work permit once you've finished. So a letter of acceptance from a DLI. So before you even apply for your study permit, you have got to apply to a college or university in Canada that accepts foreign students and get accepted onto one of their courses. Now, you've got to do this well in advance of starting your course, okay? Because it can take the colleges or universities a few months to issue their letters of approval. As part of this application, you may be required to do an English language test with IELTS or CELPIP. Now, bear in mind that this language test would be a different type of test than that required for your immigration application. Okay, if you're applying to immigration, you would need the general IELTS or CELPIP test. Okay, for the college or university, what they would be looking for is the IELTS academic test. Okay, so a little bit different, a little bit more difficult. And you would need to be looking at scoring 6.0 in each part of that test. But that's determined by the college or university. Not all colleges or universities will require that, so it's on a case-by-case basis. Once you've been accepted onto your course of study, you will be issued with your letter of acceptance. And your letter of acceptance has got to include a certain number of points in it, which immigration want to see. So this is a sample letter from Southern Alberta. So this shows that this applicant's applied to do a diploma in information technology with a start and finish date. And it also lists the tuition fees on that letter. So that letter has got to be submitted with your application. So as you all know, Canada is a huge country, okay? And with the study permit program, you can apply to colleges and universities anywhere in Canada. Here's a list to show in some of the colleges available in Western Canada that you can look at applying to, and the number of colleges over in Eastern Canada as well. So you can see there's a huge number there of colleges who are accepting international students. Now, I mentioned that you've got to have enough funds to do the study permit route. So you've got to have the funds to pay for your first year's tuition fees, so whatever the college or university is charging in those international tuition fees. And you've also got to show that you've got the funds to support yourself and any family members who will be coming with you to Canada. So how is this broken down? So this chart here shows some of the funds required. So the minimum requirements. For the student, you've got to show that you've got at least 10,000 Canadian dollars to support yourself for the 12-month period. If your spouse or partner is coming with you, you will need to show you've got an additional $4,000. And for each child that will be joining you in Canada, you've got to show you've got an additional $3,000. On top of that, you've got to show you've got the tuition fees paid. So you've got to show you've got the funds available to pay just the first year. So even if you're doing a 2 or 3 year course, it's not mandatory to show that you've got the funds to show to pay for all 2 or 3 years, but you have got to show that you've got the funds to pay for the first year. So tuition is approximately $9,000 per semester, and there's 2 semesters in the year. So what they're looking at that money, it's to show that you've got the money to pay for your books, your accommodation, your flights to Canada, and foods. But if you look towards the bottom of this chart, you can see that for a single person then, we're looking at having to show just under $28,000 as part of your study permit application. And this money has got to be funds available in the bank. For if you're bringing a spouse, that's going to increase to $32,000, and for a family of 4, you're looking at $38,000 that you're going to have to show as part of the application. So the money can't be tied up in property because the processing times for study permits is relatively fast, currently about 12 to 13 weeks. They want to show that the money is available and in the bank. So the next couple of charts just might look a little bit complicated, and I might confuse you even more now, but this is to show you the sort of time scales you might be looking at if you come to Canada on a study permit. Okay, so on this first one, this is based on a September 2023 start date. So you'll be looking at getting your study permit issued and coming to Canada in August 2023. So the yellow block there is going to be your 2-year study permit. So that study permit is going to take you through to August 2025. For a 2-year course, you're going to have 4 semesters, so 2 semesters in each year of equal length. Now, during the course of study, students are generally allowed to work for up to 20 hours a week and then full-time during the holidays. So during that big summer break there, the student can work full time. However, there is a temporary policy in place at the moment. It was just introduced at the end of last year. And so for this year, students are going to be able to work full time even while studying. Obviously, they've got to be able to keep up their studies, but they're not limited to just working 20 hours a week. Okay, so it's a temporary policy, but if it proves successful, it could be that this is rolled out as a permanent policy in the future. So the blue block there is for the spouse or partner. So as I said, the spouse or partner can get an open work permit from day one as part of the study permit application. So no job offer required. And that work permit will be issued for the same length of time as the study permit. When the student's about to graduate, the student will apply for a postgraduate work permit. So this work permit has got to be submitted before the study permit expires. And the length of the postgraduate work permit will be determined by the length of course. So as I said, if you do a 1-year course of study, you will get a 1-year postgraduate work permit. If you do a 2-year course of study, you will get a 3-year postgraduate work permit. So that postgraduate work permit is then going to be issued up until approximately May 2028. So that's going to give you a good length of time in Canada. The spouse or partner at this point, in order for them to get their new work permit and remain in Canada, the student will need to have a skilled job offer so that the partner can apply for their new work permit. But potentially you're going to be in Canada from August 2023 to May 2028 as a student or a temporary worker. And during that time, then it's going to allow you to get some skilled Canadian work experience, which is then going to allow you to apply for permanent residency status. And most students nowadays are applying for permanent residency through one of those provincial nominee programs that Dennis mentioned earlier. So the next chart is based on a January start date because lots of colleges and universities also have January intakes. Okay, so this is based on a January start date. So with the January start date, it's the information is still the same. The only thing that's really different is that you can see there's still 4 semesters, but the student is losing that big summer break. So that sort of good 3-4 month summer break has now gone, and you're going to work all the way through. So you're basically doing an 18-month course, sorry, a 2-year course within 18 months. It's all going to be condensed, but all the rules are still the same. So once you've graduated, even if you've done that course in 18 months, it will be viewed as a 2-year course and you'll still be able to get your 3-year postgraduate work permit. Okay, so that's the way that works. So what are the benefits of studying? So you can apply to colleges, universities in your preferred location. So if you've got family or friends already in Canada and you think you'd like to go and live near them, you can look at colleges in that area and apply to them. Student can work while studying, and the partner can also work. If you've got children that will be coming, they will be issued with study permits so they can go straight into the Canadian school system. As I just mentioned, the student can apply for a postgraduate work permit of up to 3 years to remain in Canada. And once you get that skilled work experience, you can apply for permanent residency through one of the economic programs, Provincial Nominee, Canadian Experience Class, Skilled Worker. Or if you're a single student coming across to Canada and you meet a Canadian, maybe you can even apply for permanent residency through the family class, through the common law partner category, which I discussed earlier. Okay,
and some of the older children will be able to apply for work permits as well now.
That's a brand new process coming out. I think end of January, there's going to be more news about that. So we're still waiting for that. But yeah, there's a new policy coming out where dependents, working age dependents of skilled workers will be able to apply for work permits, which is going to be great for those people. But we're still waiting for the details of that to come through. So as Denny said, preparation, key and critical for all these applications, especially under the student program. You've got to get all the timing right to make sure that you get the study, you get accepted onto your course of study and the study permit application is submitted to make sure that you can travel to Canada before that start date. If you are interested in study, we would ask that as well as the evaluation worksheet that you do complete the confidential study supplement as well, just to give us a little bit more information. And Dennis will advise when that will be available. So that's it from me on the study permit. I believe Dennis is going to be coming back again.
I am.
Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Helen. Dilavar, why didn't you answer my questions? Dilavar, we have a question and answer session coming up. We'll be answering questions at that point in time. And everybody who's with us today, if you've asked a similar question to somebody else, we're going to use one question. So make sure you focus, because we do use your name, but if we don't use your name, we'll probably have answered your question. And that study supplement that Helen mentioned here, when you go to the link later, you're going to see there's a business supplement available and a study supplement available. There's no extra charge for those. Click on either one or both, and you'll download those forms as well. These forms, those two are static. You can't type on them. You have to print them off, fill them in, and send it back in with your evaluation later. But Helen and I are going to go through the final stages now. Canada, you can't go. Our company is all about 3 separate divisions: your relocation, your employment, and your migration plan. Helen's in charge of your migration plan. Donna, who will join us tomorrow, will be in charge of your relocation and employment plan.
Not tomorrow, Dennis, Thursday.
Not tomorrow, Thursday. Sorry.
Just don't confuse people.
Yes, because you've got tomorrow off. That's why it's definitely not tomorrow. We become your partner in migration. Okay, your visa application is paramount. You want to make sure you get this sorted properly. If you're going to come to Canada on a fact-find trip, we're going to help you do all of this properly. Your relocation resettlement service is second to none out there in the industry. We don't even know anybody else who provides this. We are a national company that help people immigrate nationally. Helen, you ready? Have you got it?
Got it.
You got it? Okay, so everybody, what becomes important is this. The button at the top is your evaluation worksheet. Amir, apparently you've gone through this and you've already paid for it. We've seen that come through. Thank you. So this takes you to the confidential evaluation worksheet. It is on sale for 23 Canadian dollars for the next couple of days only, but you need that code. When you go to the website and when you go to get assessed today, then you're going to see the study supplements. Make sure the quantity says 1 or you're going to be charged for more than 1. Okay. So this is page 1, which shows you, we want to know about your details, your name, children, address, obviously. And on page 2, it's going to go into your education and your work history and your language capabilities. On page 3, Helen, what do we ask for at the top?
We ask for information on your funds. Right.
Why?
Here.
Are we nosy?
No, we're not being nosy, but as we've just said, in that study permit application, you need to show you've got the funds available. But for most visa applications, Canada wants to see you've got some funds available. So it's important for us to know that you've got the funds to do these programs. You might meet all the requirements, but you might not be able to show that you've got the proof of funds that Canada requires. So please don't leave that section blank. We're not being nosy. We just need to know that you're going to meet all the visa requirements.
We have to retain these to ourselves. These are not shared with anybody. Okay, plain and simple. And it's also important you fill out all the details on all the forms. Don't leave blanks. Don't leave work history blank and say, see my CV, because we might not get your CV. It might be destroyed by our system. Okay, on page 4, the final page. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're single, you don't need to worry about this page, except you still need to sign and date it. Don't fill in the credit card information or you're going to pay full price. This is if you have a spouse or a partner, fill in their details and include them as well, because it's a couple or a single person. It's still one price. It doesn't matter. The discount code is gone. That link is gone. So it's no longer there. So again, if you want the study supplement, that's when you go through the website, you click on there. So when you get to the website, it's going to be here and you're going to pick the English version or the French. It's up to you. Then the next page, I believe, brings you to the business supplement and the study supplement. Add those to the basket. There's no charges to those. And when you get to this point, this is the point here. Amir's already jumped the gun, I believe. Let's go to draw. This is where you need to put in the discount code. Okay, right there. Discount code is Canada 23. Put that in, apply coupon, and it's going to lower the price and bring everything down. From there, what's going to happen is you get your form, fill it in, get it back to us, and we're going to provide your assessment by email. It's going to be an email sent out 3 or 4 days after we get it at the most. And it's going to show you the different types of categories that you're going to be eligible for. It will also give you the dates and times that we're going to have a meeting. Some of you, we are going to meet with you via Skype. Some of you, we're going to meet in person. We do travel to Jamaica. We do travel to Trinidad and Tobago. We do travel to the UK and do personal one-on-one interviews with you. So for the last time, the discount code is Canada 23. That's the code you need to use. I saw someone at the beginning was typing in the wrong code saying it wasn't working. Well, you've got to use Canada 23.
See what you've done there, Dennis. 2023.
Canada 23. That's the discount code. No quotations, nothing else, plain and simple. Okay. So payments are done through MasterCard, Visa, or Amex. It's through PayPal. You don't need a PayPal account. Keep going through. When it says PayPal, click to the next screen, and then you'll fill in your credit card details there. We don't even get those credit card details. Okay. So that's how your payments are made, is through there. And the only way you can get this is through the website. This discount code expires on Sunday morning, I believe. You don't have to fill it in today, but you can click it, do the pay, get all the registration, get it done, and get it back to us the next couple of days. So today was an overview of all the programs. We went into the family categories, PMPs, and study permits. That was today. On Thursday, not tomorrow, we're going to go through how to get a job. Important for an awful lot of you. Express entry, skill worker, skill trade, business categories, Canadian experience class. And we'll go through that step by step. For those of you that want to see today again, you can go back to the YouTube. Okay. Your email today or tomorrow will have the YouTube link in there. You can rewatch this. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, please. That always helps. If you want more and you want to see videos on all the provinces in Canada, we do provide the Canada Web Expos, February 25th on Saturday morning. So about 11 o'clock in the morning for UK, about 7 a.m. for Trinidad, Jamaica, around that time. But you'll go to the website, you see it there. For our UK and Irish clients, we'll be live over in Birmingham, Dublin, and Glasgow coming up in March. And the Mini Web Expo will be at the end of March. When you become a client, then you get to come to our private webinars, which are the last Monday of every month. Everybody's favorite section, Helen, is 10-minute Q&A. So I'm moderating today, or do you want to moderate today?
You can moderate.
Okay, so let's go to the Q&A, everybody. Bring that up. Q&A mode. Let's go back to the top. Let's bring this out. Let's make us smaller because I don't need to see us. How do I make this smaller? I don't know. Okay, first one, Helen. From John. Do people from the UK need an English test?
Hi, John. Yes, everybody needs the English test now. So it doesn't matter where you are, what your nationality is. You need the English test unless you're applying under the family category. If you're applying under the family category, you don't need to prove your language skills. Okay, but for pretty much 95% of the other visa categories, you're going to need to do an English or a French language test.
Liz, I was late joining. I'm sorry. What is the English test and what is the discount for? The discount is Canada 23. That drops this from $112 down to $23. It's never been that low. It will never be this low ever again. Helen, English test. What's it all about?
English test. So the English test, so there's two organizations that offer the English test, which Immigration Canada will accept. There's the IELTS or the CELPIP. CELPIP is not available everywhere in the world, but IELTS is. It's a listening, reading, writing, and speaking test, and you've got to meet the minimum requirements in order to proceed with an immigration application. The minimum requirements can differ depending on the category that you're applying under. Okay, so it's not a one rule fits all in this, but most applicants do now need an English language or a French language test.
Everybody, staff just told me to put that link back up there. So it's up there for 1 minute left. So if you're not paying attention, press the button at the top that says press here. That will get you to the coding, to get to the discount, to get to the form, to do the evaluation. Helen, really good question. Helen, why'd you come back to the UK after living and immigrating to Canada?
Hi, Alex. Well, I went to Canada for a period of 2 years. That was how long I was going to stay in Canada. And I ended up staying 10 years in Canada. So I did return to the UK, but mainly just family reasons. It was nothing against Canada. It was to do with my family. And I was 8 years longer in Canada than what I'd promised them.
Safia, the settlement fee is a big issue based on what I've heard. Is it possible to apply without it and hope to get a job offer or something? That's a Thursday, but Helen, briefly.
Yes, it is. So if you have got an arranged offer of employment, the settlement funds can be waived, but not in all cases. Okay, so there's lots of nuances to immigration. So just bear that in mind. But if you did have an approved job offer, chances are the settlement funds would be waived.
The code at the top, everybody, is gone in 30 seconds, by the way. So click on it if you would like to take advantage of it. Keisha, how do we apply to the province for a job? That's going to be on Thursday. Donna's going to talk about that. Helen, what is the age limit to apply for a visa?
Okay, so there is no age limit. So whether that's under a study permit or family class, economic class, there's no age limit for Canada to apply for the visa.
Do you show us timescales if we would be coming to work rather than on a work permit too, from Liz? Liz, again, that's going to be a Thursday with Donna.
Just sort of mentioning that, Dennis, because it is a good question. So most work permits are issued now for a 3-year period. It used to be 2 years, but most of them now are 3-year periods. And you can extend them, providing that you've still got your job offer and all the requirements are still met. However, most applicants, when they are in Canada working, would be looking to apply for their permanent residency status as soon as possible. That's certainly what we do with our clients, is try and put those permanent residency applications in as soon as they qualify. When an applicant qualifies can depend on which province they're living in, what job they're doing, a certain number of factors. So again, it's not one rule fits all.
So from Farhad, I'm from Iraq. I want to study PhD mathematics in Canada. Can you share me the actual link, please? Farhad, go to Google and put in PhD programs in Canada for mathematics. We're not going to provide you any links until you actually go a little further with us in terms of an assessment, an evaluation, a meeting, an interview, and possibly a client. And then we go into that finite detail with you. But that's what you can do right now, Farhad, is PhD mathematics in Canada, and you'll get a list of universities. Roughly, as a full-time student, how many hours of attendance study are required at the college? From Alex.
So to be considered a full-time student, you've got to be doing at least 15 hours a week in college. So most students are doing sort of between 15 to 20 hours a week in college.
Helen Dilavar from Tajikistan would like to know, how can you do this and move to Canada?
Dilavar, fill the form in, return it to us, and then we can look at what options are going to be available to you. Okay, everybody's situation is a little bit different, and by completing this form, it just allows us to look at those different visa options and let you know.
Tessa, if you're the main caregiver of your parents, is that on the form? No, Tessa, that's not on the form. That's something we'll talk about at your consultation. When does consultancy with your company end? After I obtain my postgraduate or after I land in Canada? Nadine, it's up to you. We are with our clients. The majority of our clients, we are with them until they get a Canadian passport. That's 7 years from now. Some clients just want to do the work permit or study permit, and that's it. So it's going to be down to you, Nadine, when we go through the program and talk to you about the different avenues that we can go through. But yeah, you could be with us a long time. Could be a very good thing.
Don't scare people now, Dennis.
Keisha again, blocking it. How can you apply for PNP program? How can you apply to get a job in a province? Where do you go for? Well, kind of the same question again, Keisha. So you apply for a PNP program predominantly if you're living in that province. To live in that province, you need a work permit. That's going to be Thursday.
Work permit or study permit.
Pauline, so an aunt and uncle can't sponsor you at all. Pauline, that stopped in 1991. I don't even know if you were born yet, but that's how long ago that's been. Now you can get extra points on the skilled worker program, but that's going to be Thursday, but they can't sponsor you at all. Can the required funds be obtained through the sale of a UK-based home? Equity. Alex, yes. A lot of our clients, it is the equity in their home, but it's got to be cash. It can't be the equity. You can't show the value you've got. You've got to show you've actually got the cash. So some of our clients have taken a small loan against the house if they had to show the money sooner rather than later. But for a lot of clients, it's once the visas, they're selling it when they're moving to Canada. Do job offers have to be from Canadian companies only? Or can it be an existing job I have with a U.S. company? If your U.S. company, Gavin, has a subsidiary in Canada and the Canadian company is going to offer you the job, then it's a Canadian employer. But if you think about it, Gavin, Canada doesn't care about any job offer outside of Canada. What's the benefit to Canada? Mark, you'd like to know the other significant changes that are happening this year. Mark, you've got to have your file in because you got to be in it to win it, because there's going to be occupational draws happening. You two should be meeting with me sooner rather than later on Skype. So send Jennifer an email, Mark. Let's get this up to date real quick, because there's some changes happening in the first quarter, and the points could be lowered for a very temporary period of time. You said the single applicant is about 28. Gee, does this mean if I'm traveling with my daughter in 21 years, it's the same amount? Now, Camille, the amount of money you need to show is based per person.
Yeah, I think this is referring to the study permit applications. So if you were bringing a child, it would be an extra $3,000.
Correct. Ada, I have a master's in HR and a band A5. I'm 43, CRS 409. Do I stand a chance of all? You certainly do. You're cracking that 400. Oh, Farhad didn't get his question answered, so he said it again. I am a USA Jamaican citizen. My husband is a skilled worker building house. We both want to live and work in Canada. Is it possible? Claudia. I am studying now. How will my diploma be respected after graduation? Mikhail, good question. You have to go through what's called an ECA, Education Credential Assessment, by one of the 7 or 8 official bodies in Canada. It's about 300 Canadian, Helen, pretty much same company.
Yeah, 200 Canadian, 220 Canadian.
Okay.
And you get a report done comparing your foreign qualifications to a Canadian standard.
And that sets the determination, Mikhail, in Canada, what level you're at. So if you got a bachelor's degree, it's probably equivalent to a bachelor's degree. So you're going to get the same equation, but that tells immigration where you are. You mentioned that you have to pay for the first year of study. What happens with the possible remaining years of the course? Well, Pauline, sorry, you still have to pay the remaining year. You only have to prove you have the money for the first year. If you do a 2-year course, 3-year course, 4-year course, it doesn't matter. You only have to show you've got the money for the first year because you have the work authorization. That's what Canada looks at. Issa, can someone from Sierra Leone apply for a study visa? Yes, by all means. Why would the visa officer deny a student who has been accepted in a Canadian college with funds and all the paperwork have been approved by the certified agent? Nadine, that means you're probably coming from Jamaica or Trinidad. I'm making a guess because you got a standard answer which says you didn't show strong ties to your country and the whole 9 yards.
Intent to return.
Intent to return. So
probably heard of that term.
That's something we could go
into. One of life's mysteries, Nadine, which drives us insane.
You work with a certified agent. Make sure they're a licensed consultant. Okay. Don't work with. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. If you score 67, is it possible to still get a visa with a borderline score? Teresa, 67 is not what you need to get the visa. 67 is what you need to open the door to get into the system. Once you get into the system, there's all kinds of different ways of improving yourself. But 67 is the benchmark in skilled worker in order to be able to make an application. Skilled trade, you need 2 years of trade experience. That's your entry. Canadian experience class, you need 1 year of skilled work. That's your entry. So don't confuse yourself on that one. We got Farhad's on Iraq study mathematics again. If you have a sponsor for your education and have the money for your expense for family, is it okay to apply for the family, including open permit for yourself? Denise, by all means, yes. Okay, just got to prove it all. Would I have all my other questions answered when I have the Skype meeting with you? Amir, by all means. The Skype meeting will last as long as you need it to be. They're generally going to be 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on your style of file, size of family, and the questions that you have. But there's no cap. We're not like a law firm where you get 30 minutes and that's it. We're going to report to you first, give you a chance to read and digest all the information. Then let's have a proper meeting to go through everything step by step. I think some of our clients are here. Some of our clients can explain the meeting, or anybody who's had the meeting with us, type it in there, please. I currently work for the government of Canada, but at a high commission in the Caribbean. As a result of my job, I have 10-year reliability status. Would that carry any weight for my migration process? Abigail, it's still work, but obviously Canada's not going to say, thanks for working for us, come on in. But Abigail, if you can also help us find out where the delays have been, that would be helpful. Yeah. Your work is considered skilled. Obviously, you'll be able to get a great reference. But yeah, the weight, maybe an immigration officer looks at it and decides they like the fact that you worked for the government of Canada, but it has no official weight whatsoever. I've already paid, so would I have a better chance with you helping me get job options? Amir, we're going to show you all the possibilities that you're going to have, stuff you haven't even seen before. I am ways. When you have one path blocked, I'm showing you different routes to get to the same direction. Can you apply for a study permit if you're currently unemployed? Denise, by all means. There's no reason you have to be employed right now. Okay. But yeah, as long as you get the funds, you meet the other criteria, there's nothing that says you have to be employed. You said the single app. We've already done this one. I guess we didn't answer fast enough. What is the cost of young child school fees if they come with an approved Gavin. So your students go to Canada for free up until 18 years old. So elementary school, secondary school is free of charge when you're coming in on a work permit. When you're coming in on a study permit, it's still free for your elementary and secondary school children. For those that have young children, Canada has a national $10 a day daycare. Quebec at 7. So yes, very affordable. Milicia, what is the cost of your services? Couldn't tell you. It's $23 to start. But when we go through your file, we're going to show you the different types of categories that you work. So I'm going to answer this, but I can't answer this. I don't know if you've got a husband, children, criminal problems, issues in your past. Do you need a work permit? Do you not need a work permit? So there's all kinds of varying factors. But you're going to find that the average person, simple, is going to be around 3,500 to 5,000 Canadian dollars. From there, it's going to be price adjusted depending on the different services that you need and the number of people in your file.
At the end of the meeting, you should have a breakdown of exactly what it cost you and your family.
Precise. No hidden fees, nothing added on later. That's it. Would you say about 2,000 as a start be enough to at least begin to apply for one of the PMPs? Safia, I don't know what you're paying $2,000 for, but you don't need to pay some of the provincial governments have application charges, but yeah, you need to have a pathway first. Wendell, if you have an MBA from a UK university, would you have to be tested?
Yep. Doesn't matter where you're from in the world now, all the rules are the same. Years ago, it used to be a little bit different, but nowadays it's all standard no matter where you are.
I don't care, nor does Helen. If you have a PhD in English literature from Oxford University, no English test, no Canada, unless you marry a Canadian. Jonathan, I have a master's graduate in graphic design. I have cousins who are Canadian citizens in Greater Toronto. What are the chances of having a successful application for my mother and I? Jonathan, evaluation. We are not going to pull punches, people, especially at $23. We're going to say pass, fail, pass, how? This category, this category, this category, this category. And if it's a fail, we're going to report that too. And not everybody passes, okay? Now, that also comes down to what you put on the form. If you leave blanks, you're going to weaken your chances. Fill in the form completely. Oh, one more time. One last chance. I've been told, get this bar back up there. It's up there for 2 final minutes, the evaluation worksheet. And the cousins in Toronto are great. That just helps you with your relocation. Dion, maybe you missed it. Is there an age limit? No, Canada does not have an age cutoff. Going back to Wendell, under the Canadian education system, is that the tested? Yes, your MBA still has to have an evaluation to show it's equivalent to a Canadian.
It'll come back as being equivalent to a Canadian master's degree, but it's still just a step that you need to go through.
Graham, I don't know where you've been, but the hospitality industry has been opening up for a while now.
And lots of shortages, I'm hearing.
Massive shortages in Canada. As a matter of fact, all this talk around the world, on our news today, Canada just had home sales were increased in December again. We still have the lowest unemployment. We had a drop in our unemployment rate again. CJ, is a credit check done in the process? Will a loan show up during the application process? CJ, no, it doesn't show up. It's what you disclose. Can you send me the evaluation worksheet? Well, Amir, I think you've already purchased it through PayPal through the website. You should have it downloaded into your account now. Under section 15, there are fees.
Payment details, yeah.
Yes. Do not fill that in. That's what the $23 was that you paid. So don't fill that credit card, but you still need to sign and date it. You still have to sign and date it, but don't fill in the credit card. No, Yahan Zaib, I hope I said that right. No, don't fill that in. That's what the $23 is all about. Teresa says thank you. Amir says thank you. Don't know before. Nadine, yes, from Jamaica. Thanks for the last answers. My license agent might be the reason my family are not in Canada today. I can't answer that, but I can tell you that I've been working in Jamaica since 2012, and we're very successful. Issa, how do I get the form? You got 7 seconds left at the top of the button. 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. Form's gone. Okay. What is the age for dependents, Helen? Dion's got a good question there.
Dion, as soon as your child turns 22, they are no longer dependent. Okay, so you've got to get those applications in before the children turn 22 years of age.
Alex, my partner and I read somewhere that selling all assets in our country of origin is frowned upon on application for a visa. Is this nonsense? Yes. because they view you as severing your ties with your home country. No, Alex, you can do whatever you want with your money. Okay, it's not a problem.
It depends on the type of visa you're applying for as well. Okay, so if you're applying to come temporarily.
But there's no visa that says you can't sell your assets.
No, there's no visa that says, but.
Oh, Helen, you're not going to like this. Kind of a compliment from Graham. Had an interview about 2 years ago, and it was very informative and very thorough.
As someone once said, recollections may vary.
But Graham, if it was 2 years ago, you have to do the evaluation again. I'm sorry. But fortunately, it's only 23. Denise, I'm in Jamaica. Did you say you're coming here? Also, is it that denial for a study permit or more so? Is it the denial for study permits or more so for a study? Helen, do you want to touch that one?
Study permits. Temporary permits such as visitor visas and study permits can be more difficult to get than permanent residency applications. And that's because the visa officer can make a judgment and refuse your application because they don't think you've shown enough connections to your home country, your intent to return. So they are a little bit more challenging, but they're not impossible.
Oh, Graham, you just missed out. 8th of January, 2021 is when we had our meeting. So you're just past, yes. Oh, we have a lucky one here. Niall, I'm a dual Canadian-British national. What is the minimum amount I need in my bank account to return to Canada?
Nothing.
Zero. Nothing. Come on home.
Get your Canadian passport and book your flight.
Is the complete evaluation worksheet the assessment? Yes, Antonio, you need this to get the assessment done. From Jamaica, if you have a visitor visa, what are your options in upgrading to work permit? Can that happen? Well, yes, but we've got a problem with people who come, doesn't matter from Jamaica, anybody who comes here on a visitor visa and thinks they're going to flip to a work permit, because it could happen the next day, but for more often than not, it's going to be months. So you're not working, you don't have health care. All of our clients get their work permit.
There's no guarantees.
Okay. Thanks, guys. We're applying under the study route. Initially, in work permit for myself, we're concerned about selling up and then being rejected. Alex, have a meeting with us. Talk to us. Dennis, this is Dennis. I'm really anxious and serious to relocate as soon as possible. I don't mind going to visit Helen in Manchester. We're waiting to see you soon. But I'd really like to help me with my work and application, but not with charity this time, another spouse. Okay, Dennis. Do the evaluation. Let's get this back. We'll go through this step by step. Emmanuel, what are the vaccine requirements? None. That's gone. Alex, we're in UK. Great. Get the form back to us. Let's talk about this. Hernando, what do you recommend for people of 58 years old? I am a systems engineer, intermediate level of English. Have only applied online with several companies. 10-1 interviews or short program, at least 1 year. Public college, just applied that. Hernando, there is short courses you can do in Canada, but the shorter the course, the less benefit to you. Go through the evaluation with us, okay? If you don't have that link, everybody, go to our website. It's still there. You just need that code, Canada23.
Can I just make a comment as well?
Yeah.
I know we've said a few times that there is no age limit for Canada, which is true. However, if you want to apply through a provincial nominee program, some of the provinces, not many, but some of them do have an age limit of 55. Okay, so as I say, there's so many nuances in immigration. It's really important, that you do get the proper information and advice so that these sort of things don't catch you out.
When do you guys visit Trinidad again? Wendell, probably going to be there in February, but only our people who have done the evaluation get the email of the dates and times. Thanks for your response. Denise, it's the exact same. Only our clients in Jamaica who have done the evaluation get the dates and times. That'll be February or March. I'm a student just starting nursing school. My husband is over 13 in hospitality now. Manager, can we migrate to Canada? Shania, how do I say that, Helen?
I'd say Shania, I'm not sure.
The evaluation worksheet. Starting nursing school is fine. Maybe you finish the nursing school in Canada, but your husband having 13 years in hospitality sounds good as well. Oh my, Helen, we're at the end.
Excellent. Good questions tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. Okay, so You've heard what we've talked about. Some of you I know are registered twice, and you're going to be joining us on Thursday night for the work permit, how to get a job section. Please, everybody, see this section here? If you liked what you saw today, please go and give us a 5-star rating on Google, Facebook. When the webinar finishes tonight, it says a rating. That's only the company that owns this software. They want a rating on the software. No, take some time, go out there, because it helps other people like yourselves find the right people and talk about the right things, okay? We are Canadian. We are licensed. We want to help you come here. We're a professional migration firm. Thank you, Mark. Helen, any final thoughts for everybody out there?
No, I know we keep going on and on about it, but the only way we can really help you out and let you know your options is if you complete the form, give us all your information, and then we can let you know what options are going to be available to you. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see some of you Thursday, I'm sure.
Mark, you and Lou don't have to pay for the evaluation, by the way, because you're clients. So you can just send Jennifer an email whenever you want to get back up and running. And any of our other clients who might be here tonight want to be there. Everybody who wants a video on, I'll give you a video on history of Canada or a comical. Both of them are comical, but I'll give you comical Canada or catchy tune Canada. Both are comical. Which one do you want? Mark, thank you. Elaine, thank you. No one's saying, Helen, you get to choose. Comical Canada. First one to say it wins. So we're going to give you Comical Canada. Helen, do you want to introduce what this is all about?
Just some stereotypes of Canada and things that you might not be aware of Canada. So I'm probably going to switch my sound off because it's a really, really catchy tune and will be in my head all night.
So the YouTube will be stopping now. I'm just letting Mandy know. So the YouTube will stop. And everybody, enjoy this. For some of you, we'll see you Thursday. The rest of you, we'll see you with your forms. Get them back as soon as possible, and we'll help you with the best of the